I go back into corporate and find another job, but what if they do the same thing?
Yeah.
Because I think you think going into a corporate job, you have the security and
For life.
Yeah,
Yes,
but
yeah.
actually, I've just been in that industry for 10 years and they just dropped me.
Let's Talk DXB. Real conversations by real people.
Natasha,
Hello.
thank you so much for joining Let's Talk DXB. I'm glad we made it before you flew out of Dubai. Yeah, thank you for being here this evening.
Thank you for having me.
welcome.
This just feels like a second conversation because I feel like we had our first podcast chat on our Zoom call.
We were just talking about the way that people are recording. If I was doing it that way, that would have been a fantastic episode. So I know this is going to be great as well. Yeah. So let's start. I always like to start with the person in front of me. I gave a bit of an explanation that Let's Talk is very much around people that are building, rebuilding and becoming. Mm-hmm. And I think you've very much got a human story. And we both talked about the importance of authentic storytelling as marketeers. We get it. So let's hear a bit more about you and your journey.
Okay, sure. So I'm Natasha Suri. I am the founder and director of Nikitasha Consultancy Limited. And we are a brand growth consultancy specializing in one-to-one brand growth and content marketing activations. But actually, I only started my business 4 years ago, or coming up to 4 years ago. And it didn't start with this whole, really nice, fancy story of like having this entrepreneurial spirit and just waking up one day and the birds were and like
I had a sign.
I had a sign. No, it wasn't. It was actually dramatic.
Wow.
It was very sad at times. It was quite lonely, and it all happened because I actually was made redundant and very quickly, I thought I was excelling in a role that then just hit me, and suddenly, they no longer wanted me there. And I think when you're quite career driven, so I've actually been working since I was 15. As soon as, if you're from the UK, your national insurance card, when your national insurance card comes through the post, usually at the age of 15, I was like, right, I'm going to work. Yeah. I am ready. And I always knew I wanted to be in more like media, marketing, branding. I always enjoyed it.
That's good.
So I developed my career kind of in-house in corporate companies. And I did that for about 10 years. And I did really well. And then my last job in corporate, it was a real step up and it was a growing company. And I was so excited. I had a team. And there was a lady there who just hated me. She just did not like me. And I just didn't know what I was doing because I like to think that I try to be a people's person.
I can see that already. Yeah, like you're so warm.
I like to be a people's person. And connect to people and learn and grow with them. And I always say that your net worth is your
net worth. Yeah, it's so important.
Your network is your net worth is your network.
Yes.
I've got it wrong. Which one is it? I can't remember now.
Yeah, one of those.
One of those.
We'll figure out. We'll put it in subtitles.
Or actually, no, sorry. This is what I always go by. It's not what you know, it's who you know.
It's such a big thing.
So I always say I like to leave a good lasting impression no matter where I go. Even in my corporate career, if someone I feel like is not treating me nicely or has done me wrong, I always still leave on a positive note. Because you never know when your paths are going to cross.
And the world is literally that small.
It is.
Yeah, it's so small.
Especially if you enjoy the industry you're in and you want to stay in that industry. So when this corporate job wasn't going really well, and I could tell they were trying to push me out. I could just see these signs. I was like, they were trying to catch me out with things. And when I realized they were trying to push me out the company, I started to create a paper trail for myself. Everything was in black and white. Everything that the directors were telling me to do, I was going back to my emails after meetings. Because I could tell that they were trying to catch me out.
Very smart, yeah.
And they were. And then they tried to basically push me out the company, and I basically sent them, a downloadable file of all.
Cute.
there you are. Thank you. Of all of the emails and all the work that I had done and everything that I had accomplished and all the reports. I was ready to take them to court. And because I had all of that black and white evidence, they couldn't really do anything about it. And they then made the role redundant. But soon after that, because I'd been in corporate for 10 years and I'd always been like, I know what I want to do. I'm striving for it. You know, always sitting with my managers. What can I do? How can I improve? That when I no longer had that job, I felt really lost.
Can we talk about that?
Yeah.
I think even in my career journey, the amount of pressure we put around our identity when it comes to our jobs, like that job title is the only thing we have.
Yeah.
Our name and the job title. I really had to kind of learn a few lessons and reprogram what that actually meant, because it's very common. So when that's stripped away, how did that feel?
I was so lost. Because I've always been career driven, and also my parents have always instilled having a career and education as being so important. So, and with that, I think comes structure. You end up leading a life with a lot of structure. What's the end goal? How are we going to get there? What do we need to do to get there?
What box do I need to tick? What's the next step? Very structured.
So when you do go through redundancy and you're lost, structure's gone.
It's so painful.
No regime. I could wake up anytime I wanted to, you know, and some people would love that, and I hated it.
Yeah, that's me as well. I need that kind of like, what am I waking up for? And what's the purpose? And that kind of like hard work mentality. I need to be productive, so I could get that.
Yeah, and I think, like you said, you almost, that kind of work ethic goes hand in hand sometimes with your identity. And because of that, because, you know, I was made redundant, I lost my job that career I'd been building from such a young age. I actually didn't tell my friends and family because I felt really ashamed. I only told my now husband, I told my mum. I didn't even tell my dad because I didn't want to tell him until I knew what my plan was.
What you were doing, because the question would be, what are you doing?
So I was like, I can't even tell my dad.
You need to have an answer.
Because he's going to say, what's next? And if I say,
I don't
know, like, do you know what
pressure?
I mean? Just, So I didn't tell anyone. Like, I remember I kept going to my in-laws' house, and I think my mother-in-law said to my husband, like, Tasha's been here a lot recently. Like, you know, like, and I think my husband was like, she's got a lot of annual leave.
I gave her a whole year leave.
So, and I just didn't tell anyone because of the shame of it. And then when I finally realised I needed to get my act together, I thought, if I go back into corporate and find another job, but what if they do the same thing? Because I think you think going into a corporate job, you have the security and
for life.
But actually, I've just been in that industry for 10 years and they just dropped me.
And it's usually like, what, a 10-minute conversation, half an hour if you're lucky?
God, it wasn't even 10 minutes. So I actually thought to myself, this is my time. Because also, I think a lot of entrepreneurs feel this. When you are in a corporate job, sometimes you may feel you don't fit in.
Right.
Because also, I think when you're an entrepreneur, you're a natural leader. So I also feel like sometimes when you're a corporate role, you'll find that you're always going to leadership or the C-suite with ideas. You're seeing things outside the box. You might challenge them and you might be like, but I don't know about this, but what do you think about this? And each time you may be shut down because that's not your role. But when you're an entrepreneur in a corporate, you can't help it.
You can't help it. That's so right. I met a lady and she did, I would say maybe like 20 plus years in a very big corporation. Later on in her life, she's like, I'm ready to start my own thing. And even early in her career, because she stayed in that same company for a long time, she's like, she had one leader and he was like, you need to go and start your own business. She's like, every day I'd go into his office with a new idea. And he was like, no, you need to go and start your own business eventually. So it's so right. There's a personality type and you hunger for that kind of creativity and flexibility to do things differently.
Exactly. I mean, it's funny though, like, you know, at least you say you leave corporate and, you know, you want to have like work on your own time and you want to have flexibility, but actually I genuinely work 24/7. And I think like, but when you're building something for yourself, because I remember what I experienced, it's worth it. I don't mind working till 2-3 in the morning. You know, I don't mind sometimes missing out on social things because I need to go and potentially meet someone who could be a great connection.
That's good.
but it's funny because when I was made redundant, I felt really lonely. But actually, even having my business now and having my team, I have a team, but there's a fine line between how much you can lean on them and what you can tell them, right?
Yes.
Because at the end of the day, it's my company,
your business.
and I have to set an example.
Yes. Yeah.
So the only person I moan to is my husband. He's probably sick of me. He's
Still part of marriage.
Yeah.
It's support.
Exactly, yeah. You know, like, I think it's also understanding that if you are going to start a business, the sacrifices that come with that.
A lot of hard work.
Yeah, and I think some people actively choose to stay in a job, which I also think is not a bad thing either.
Yeah. I think it's not for everybody. And I think there's probably a lot of like mindset, I always say the mindset shift around actually going into entrepreneurship, because it's scary, right? You're used to your salary at the end of each month. You're used to the stability. Doing it for yourself and building from scratch is not an easy journey, but also it showed that was the bigger purpose for you.
Yeah.
So let's go back a bit. So unfortunately you were made redundant. You had to take some time out to think about it. How did you come up with the business idea? And like, how quickly did you move with it? Yeah.
So quick. Like, oh my God, I was in fight or flight response.
Got it.
Because basically a role actually came up in Dubai.
Right.
And I'd always had, the thought of working and living in Dubai in my mind. Like, even when I was in a job, I was like, there was something about being in Dubai. And I think this was actually before it became the glitz and glam of like living and working here. There was something about it that just really kind of pulled me. And this job came up and I just thought, I'm just going to apply. I'm just going to apply and just see how it goes. And it was a marketing director role for a hair brand here. And I applied, and then I got the role. And at that point I was like, oh, I didn't expect. I didn't know if it was going to happen. Yeah, I kind of just did it because I was at home and like, I was redundant. I had nothing else to do. I was like, let me just apply. And I was like, oh my God, I actually got it. And I did something very risky. Now, I knew how I felt when I got made redundant, and I knew that there was something bigger out there for me. So I actually went back to them and said, I'm happy to take this role, but actually I'll take it under my own consultancy, not as an employee. I mean, at that point, they could have just been like, yeah, okay, love, goodbye.
We're going to find someone full time.
Exactly. And I just took that risk.
And
it worked. And they were like, okay, sure, yeah. Like, we had to make a few like contractual changes, of course. And then I was like, oh my God, they said, yes, I don't have a company. I was like, I don't have a company.
I don't have a consultancy yet. I love this.
I don't even have a consultancy. So I was literally blagging it like the whole time. And my mum, who is really inspiring to me, she is the most hardest working woman I know. Like, she works so hard. And she's a real go-getter. And she had a company when many, many years ago when she was a locum social worker. And it was called Nikitasha. My brother's name Nikhil and my name Natasha. And she merged it. And I was like, okay, I need to do this. Like, I need to set up a limited business. I was like, okay, I'll take Nikitasha for now. We can.
Yes, you can figure it out later.
We'll figure it out later.
Yeah, it's registered.
Exactly.
You can use that. Yep.
So I used that. And Nikitasha Consultancy basically was born. And that is when I first came to Dubai. I came as a consultant under my consultancy, Nikitasha Consulting. And in that role, actually, I went from brand director, and then very quickly I ended up being MD.
Right.
But I was MD because the founder basically started to become really hands off.
Okay.
And
so
there was
someone.
and there was a lot going on in that company, which I realized when I actually moved here, and I realized that I had to step up. But you know what? Even though it was really difficult, I was like, I'm going to step up.
Yeah.
I'm like, whatever comes from it, comes for it. I'm going to step up.
I love that energy.
Yeah.
That's a lot. That's bravery, though. A new place, under your consultancy umbrella, so even navigating that,
Yeah.
and then going into this like very senior, demanding, I'm sure, MD role.
Yeah, yeah. And I even brought my, so I actually got engaged in Dubai. So at the time, my
Right.
husband was my boyfriend.
Right.
I brought him with me.
Like, well, we're all going to do this together.
I brought him with me. And at the time, again, we hadn't even figured it out because
Wow.
it would have been, so that company ended up going bust.
Right.
So before that company went bust, it was going to be a long-term relationship.
Yeah.
Sorry, long distance. It was going to be a
yeah.
long-distance relationship. And he didn't bat an eyelid. He just supported it. So, which I think for me is like, if he didn't,
Yeah.
I wouldn't be here
wouldn't.
now.
Yeah.
Because I think for a lot of women, like with all the roles that we have to carry, I think a lot of women also don't get that, they're not as lucky enough
Yeah.
to have family or partners around them that still allow them to do what they want to do.
And give them the space, and then
Yeah.
also come along on the journey,
Yeah.
because usually it's the other way round sometimes.
Exactly. It
So to
is.
have someone supportive to be
Yeah.
like, let's do this together.
Yeah.
You found a good husband.
Yeah, I did.
So then that went bust, but also the learning from that as well, which was all part of probably you're seeing the ins and outs of running the business, the pros, the cons, the what not to do. So I'm sure that helped you in just navigating your business in terms of what you
So
need to be
much.
aware of.
Yeah, so much so. Actually, one of the girls on my team in that company ended up being my first ever team member at Nikitasha Consultancy.
It's all meant to be. I love these stories.
Yeah, because I mean, we all
Everyone
lost our
lost their
jobs.
jobs.
And for me, I'm like, oh, second time I've lost my job. Like, what's new here?
It's okay. We can pick things up and move.
Exactly. Yeah. So, the risk associated that almost become less for me. I was like, okay, it's, we'll just pick ourselves up again.
Good.
But one of the girls there, she ended up being my first ever team member. So it was literally just me and her when I was growing the business. Now I actually have a team of 5.
Oh, well done.
Plus freelancers as well.
Yeah, fantastic.
So it's going really, really well. And everything, like you said, everything I learned from those roles, those experiences, and also my corporate roles. Everything I learned from my corporate roles, all of the structure and the strategy, I use in my business, in my consultancy.
And the professionalism, I always say don't take that for granted. Because everyone's like, oh, even with Let's Talk, which is like an added thing to what I'm doing, they're like, you're so professional, you're so organized. I was like, I've learned that through 16 years of being in a corporate environment and also having the right mentors to teach me about the experience that people have with you as an individual says a lot as well. So I'm very big on that in terms of reputation and how people experience me as a professional. It all comes out in your business as well. So right. So let's talk about you as an individual pivoting into entrepreneurship, because we've talked a lot about culture. And I loved that conversation when we had the intro call, because I've had to do a lot of rewiring around, my passions and being more creative and tapping into that as well. So it's it, but your mum has like an entrepreneurial background. She set up something.
So so my mum's been a social worker for many, many years now. And now she actually works in-house. But before that, she actually was a locum social worker.
Right.
So she was a contractor,
So she had
basically.
yeah.
But she's also had she's always had different avenues of income. She's never just had one income. And although she may not be, I would maybe say, like a full-on business owner as much as maybe I'm kind of channeling into, I think what I learned is having different revenue streams is probably the best thing that you can do. Because when I was actually made redundant from my corporate role, from a very young age, I really loved hair and makeup. And so I'm South Asian, I'm Punjabi, and the Asian wedding industry is massive.
Huge. When I speak to my friends and they're telling me, I'm like, okay, this.
It's big. It's big. And I started doing that when I was 15.
Really?
Yeah, I started doing hair and makeup when I was 15. And although I would never say it was something that maybe I wanted to do as a full-time career, it was just something I love doing. I love making women feel beautiful.
It's fantastic.
It's fun. It's just fun. It's glamming people up. It's so fun. And when I lost my corporate job, I had a backup plan. okay, fair enough. It wasn't the income that,
But you had something.
but I had something.
Yeah.
And I definitely got that from my mum. And
that's
actually,
good.
even now, growing Nikitasha Consultancy and growing my marketing business, I am still looking at ways of like, how can I make this multiply?
Yes. Yeah.
And I know we kind of briefly spoke about like cultural difference,
Yeah.
education, but I do feel that's probably a cultural thing.
It's a massive culture piece. When you were saying that, I was like, yeah, that reminds me of my upbringing. And yeah, it's a massive shift. And actually, the younger generation now, when I look at my younger sister, she's super creative. And she's worked, but she's never gone into like the traditional way of things. And she's always been able to kind of like think about different ways to make money because she's creative.
Yeah.
Where my parents are looking at her like, what are you doing? Where me and my elder sister was very much, get your good education, go to university, get that corporate, and it keeps you quite rigid. Like I've really had to like rewire my very kind of like tick box mentality because you all know more than anything in this kind of more creative entrepreneur world, it can't be that straight line.
No.
So yeah.
No, exactly. And I would just, I guess like, even for us and our generation, and I know like one day when I have children and how I might be with them, and then how their generation is probably going to deal with it would be different.
Yep.
And I'm a millennial, so for me, I'm kind of like, I feel like millennials are in between that kind of traditional structured career path and also kind of coming out with being a bit free in terms of like what you want to do in life, whereas Gen Z are like, they get treated wrong once, they're out. They won't take it.
They're like, okay, someone didn't smile at me, I quit. And to a degree, I do like the mentality of like, this is what I want. I think stability is important. And obviously there's layers of like, you have to learn in these environments, but they're very much like, this is not what I want. Where people are saying in jobs where they are miserable, mental health, all of these factors, because they just don't think there's another option out there as well, which is a big weight for a lot of people. Yeah. So the cultural side of things, when you said you wanted to start up your own business, how was that received in your household?
It was like, oh, okay, and like, what else?
Yeah. This hobby is like, fine, but what are you going to do for real?
Oh, so will you grow this when you go back to your job?
Yeah. Like, this is my job.
Yeah. Like, this is my job. And actually, what I have noticed culturally, also maybe not culturally, also I think maybe generationally as well, because when I started my business, I also found I couldn't relate to my friends as much either. So there's a few things here where I kind of like, that loneliness.
Yes. Yep.
Because normally when the girls meet up, everyone just like moans about their boss
jobs
and
their
job.
bosses and like how.
And I can't moan about myself. So as much, do you know what I mean? Like, so, and I can't really moan about like being overworked and having loads of business because I'm really grateful for that too.
Yeah.
But it is hard. But then I don't have anyone to bounce off,
That kind of gets the season that you're in and what you're building.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
Yeah.
So I just feel like in general, some people don't really understand it. And I found that when I couldn't really talk to like my friends about it properly, and also actually I could if I wanted to, but I think I don't, because I don't ever want to make someone feel like I'm talking about something that they don't understand. I don't want to come across like that person.
Yeah, understood.
So sometimes I just don't say anything at all.
Wow.
So that was kind of difficult to navigate.
And did you have to, not intentionally, but did you see some friendship groups shift, or you just found like, actually, this is not the group that I talk about business and ideas and all of those things?
Yeah, I ended up actually having to actively go and join like membership programs, like communities. And I realised I needed another circle of people that I could speak to about my business and bounce off as well.
Yeah.
And I think, with family members though, culture, I feel like that's not changed. I think with the elders, I think
still don't get it.
If someone says like, oh, so what does Natasha do? Like, probably a bit of everything. Something. I think like some people maybe just don't get. I think now my parents understand what I do.
And how hard you've worked towards it. Yes.
And other family members do understand a bit more as to like what I do. But in the beginning, it just no one really like got it.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
And that's tough as well though, because you're having to then reassure yourself in that. You have to really talk to yourself. I am doing the right thing. It's okay. Block out a lot of the noise, because it's quite easy to go back into that job market, as much as obviously it was a difficult thing for you to experience.
Yeah,
but
100%.
Yeah, a lot of people could push you in that way.
Yeah.
So let's talk a bit more about what you're doing, because obviously we're both marketeers, and I read your Forbes article about social media and showing up on social media, this whole personal brand piece, which I think was always there, but different. And I hear a lot of people say, you know, I'm getting so much pressure to be present and show up and post every day, 3 times a day sometimes.
Yeah.
What are you seeing in this space? Because I think it's got pros and cons, but it can be overwhelming if it's not done in the right way, maybe.
Yeah. So one thing that's always, I would say, like, been important in marketing, no matter what industry, is community, right? Like building a community for that brand or business.
Correct.
I would just say that now it's become more competitive to build a community.
Yes, there's a lot out there.
Because there's so much, there's
yeah.
so much. And so there's 2 ways to do this, because really founder-led businesses, if they're comfortable with being in front of the camera, they are going to build their community quicker.
Yeah.
You know, if anyone tells you, no, you can still build a brand really successfully by not showing your face, and you can build it successfully. Of course you can. But I just really hope you've got bigger budgets.
Yes, because you're going to have to pay a lot more to get that exposure in that way.
Exactly. Whereas organically and you know, at Nikitasha, we actually do a lot of organic marketing as well.
Yeah.
And one thing with organic marketing is it's really about the strategic content, and it is about showing up as a founder.
Yeah.
That is how you build your organic content successfully.
Because people are buying into you as a person. They want to know, because I found that with Let's Talk, as much as I've been in marketing, I'm quite a private person in my very social way. So everyone's like, you know, I didn't have an Instagram account actually. And they're like, you need your own one. I've got one that is like closed. Yeah. Because I'm like, I don't know if I want to do that yet, but I understand the importance. Anyone I meet, they're like, oh, we want to learn more about you.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, me? Yeah. It's interesting.
I know.
That's the way it's going.
I mean, the only thing I would say, though, is like you really need to think, like, in the next few years, do you still want to be in front of the camera?
That's the thing. What's the long-term goal?
Yeah, because I have worked with clients where in the beginning they don't want to be, even though we've spoken to them and we've said, like, look, it's beneficial if you are.
Yes.
You know, especially when it's a startup brand and they don't want to be. Then a year goes by and they realise how difficult a startup brand is, and they then realise they need a face of the business. And then they want to start, you know, becoming the face of the brand again. So we'll introduce you as the face of the brand. And in order to do this, we need X number of content pieces a week, please, right? For us to edit, and
for
schedule.
us to do something with
and
it.
they're like, what, that many? I'm like, you know?
it's a full-time job.
It's a lot.
I completely know. It's a lot to it.
It's a lot. So I think, like, if you are happy to be a founder-led business where you're happy to put that value and your face out there, you will grow quicker, and you will grow quicker organically as well, and you'll build a stronger community. You will. However, if you're doing it at the expense of, you know, your family or any other commitments you have, then maybe think about it, because it is a long-term thing and it's exhausting. It's so exhausting. And you mentioned, like, being a private person too. You know, I think you do need to think about that. So I think if you're not too sure and it's a bit too much of a grey area, then I would say think of other ways. Okay, like, you don't have to be in front of a camera. You don't have to be the face of the brand. There are other ways to grow, you know, a personal brand. But in order to do that, then what budget do we have available?
Correct.
You know, what other strategies do we need to work with then in order to do that? Are we working with ambassadors in order to build that community? And if you are they going to be free, or are you paying for them?
Yeah, that's so right.
So that's kind of what I would say.
Good. Yeah, that's really good advice. Yeah. I think it is that long-term piece, because you see people that are like, yep, go all in, and they're like, oh, actually this is exhausting, or, you know, I don't have time to do this, or actually I started sharing a bit about my family and now I don't feel comfortable. So I think you have to be that's why I've done it at my own, because I know obviously what the right thing to do is, but for me personally, I wanted to think about what direction I actually want to take with it.
I think that's actually really smart, because also if you're happy to be in front of the camera but you don't have the time to be,
it's time,
you know, the time to show up consistently, even if you do 4 videos a month, 1 a week.
Yeah, you're right.
And the rest of the posts around that can be of other things,
Yes.
you know, whether they're carousels or stories or,
yep.
you know, whatever it might be, or maybe they're more service or product related and not so much about you as the founder. But even just those 4,
That's good advice.
those, you know, those 4 founder-led content pieces a month versus 0.
Yeah, yeah.
And if you compound that for the rest of the year,
You've built, the profiling
Yeah.
is being built up.
yeah.
That's such good advice. And how about you in terms of your own like personal brand? And have you started to think about that for your business yet? Are you doing it already?
Yeah, so I actually at the start of this year set myself a goal.
Oh, you did?
Yeah,
Okay,
I did.
good.
So to do more talking,
Yeah.
kind of videos, more
Good.
value-led videos
Yeah.
as well. And honestly, the first month I did it in January. It like literally just inquiries and even people asking if I was interested in like speaking events
Yeah,
and things like that.
that's it.
And that was for 1 month.
Wow.
That was just from 1 month of doing it.
Yeah.
So, you know, it helps and it works. And I wanted to start doing it because a lot of my business has come from referrals.
Yes,
and
you'd mentioned.
yeah, so it's actually come from people who I knew in my corporate.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
So do you remember we were saying how you should always leave on a good note?
I'm so big on that. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't ever need to be that messy. As hard as it, because you had very valid reasons to be like, oh
Yeah.
my goodness. And even the way you handled that, like, it was very factual and like, you know,
Yeah.
this is what it is. I think that's quite a classy way of looking at things, actually.
Thank you. I'll take
I
that.
think that's classy.
But I mean, you have to, because starting a business, you can't do it with ego. Ego has to go out of the window.
Humility.
Literally,
Yeah.
you know, like as much as this whole kind of founder, CEO, director, it sounds so, it's not. Like if you saw what I look like in my home office, like sending all these emails, like literally, like, you know,
Up
it's
into whatever hours of the night,
it's not
there's-
glamorous,
yeah.
you know. So in order to kind of keep pushing the business forward, you need to have good relationships.
good.
And that starts before you have your business.
Yes. Yeah.
Not when you have your business, it's
Yeah.
before that.
So right.
And that's why I've been really fortunate to grow it through word of mouth and recommendations. So like my one of my ex-bosses actually, she contacted me a couple of weeks ago about working on a project with a brand I used to work on in corporate.
Wow, fantastic.
Yeah, and whether something comes from that or not, what a compliment. What a compliment.
lot.
Because, you know, if one of my ex-bosses now, you know, I mean, I feel like it wasn't long ago I was like begging her for a promotion.
And I was like, actually, can you help us with this client?
And look, even if nothing comes from it, like it just shows that you're doing a good job.
And you were valued.
Yeah.
Because also that redundancy piece, the narrative that you tell yourself, I'm not good. You know, there's so much negative talk because it's like, what did I do wrong?
So much.
But this is just reassurance that you were good at what you were doing.
Yeah. So definitely a lot has come through referrals, but I decided to do more value-driven content
Yeah.
because I'm in a place now where I want to get more new business.
Got it.
You know, not necessarily just from people who know me in the industry.
Yes,
I think that's when real growth
Yeah.
happens.
Because the brand and the exposure and the knowledge has gone beyond like the kind of network that you have, which is really important as you grow. That is fantastic. Yeah. Can we also talk about authenticity? Because I can tell from you, just from that virtual call we had, I was like, oh, Natasha's so easy to talk to. Like I felt your energy through the call and now.
Yeah.
What does authenticity mean to you? And how big is it in terms of you showing up online or just with your clients or just, you know, meeting with new people?
I think even if you are a private person, you can still show up authentically online.
Yeah.
You know, it just means you don't have to talk about that. You just choose not to talk about certain things.
Yeah.
But I think being authentic is actually just kind of, if you're passionate about something, just owning it. And I talk about things where, and even with friends sometimes, I talk about things where I know people aren't going to agree with me.
Yes. Yeah.
And I really,
But
I don't
you stand by it. And
I don't care.
Yeah, same,
you know,
same.
that's not to devalue their opinion. I think everyone has their own opinion, but I also have mine through my own experiences in life. So, and I'm confident in talking about it
good.
because I know that there will be people out there who will relate to me.
That's it.
Not everyone will.
Yeah.
Not everyone will agree with what I have to say, but the few that will, that's my community.
Yes.
And they're the ones that will see me as my authentic self, you know, whereas someone else who doesn't agree with me might be like, who is she?
And different experiences. I mean, we talked about representation, right? The big thing for me with Let's Talk DXB is diverse experiences, diverse faces and voices. I wanted to see more of like diversity and ethnic minorities actually having the platform to share their stories. And because I think lived experiences are so powerful. Like everyone's journey will be a bit different, but you talking about your upbringing, someone else can be like, oh, I have those same challenges, but I still want to set up my business. Or, you know, I'm nervous to even have this conversation. I think that's so important.
It is. I couldn't agree more because when I started in the beauty branding industry, there weren't a lot of brown girls, you know, in the industry. And the problem with that is when you have even just a handful of negative experiences, it's more prominent.
Yes.
Because you don't see people like you in those roles or even in leadership roles or where you aspire to be. I remember when, way before I actually even got my first job, I did so many internships when I was younger, like so many, I worked for free whenever I could.
You were just hungry. That's good energy though.
I was running around like, oh my God, like getting biscuits and making tea a certain way for like PR directors.
Really a specific, it's not an easy industry to be in.
No, and like what has a cup of tea got to do
with my skin?
But you know what? I just did it. Okay, if this is what I've got to do, I'm going to do it.
I like that energy.
And like, just like, you know, really quickly to tell you a few experiences. Like in one internship, I remember there was a girl there. We had to clean up the stock cupboard, and there was foundations in there, like makeup foundations. And the PR manager was like, "Girls, take whatever makeup you want. You know, it's fine. Take it." And basically, the other interns took theirs, and there was only one color that was even close to my skin color. But I took it because it's freebie.
Yeah, you're like, okay, I'll make it work. I'll blend it.
Exactly. I was like, I mean, I'm not going to say that. I'm going to take it. And then I picked it up and I was like, oh, I'll have to take this. And one of the other girls was like, that's a bit too light for you, isn't it? Oh, gosh. That was my first experience in beauty PR as an intern. And then moving into that, then going more into kind of a managerial role and working my way up. I then realised no one in leadership looked like me. No one. Yeah. First of all, it was if we were ever pitching to you know, investors, first of all, they were all men.
Yeah.
And
that's the layer first.
That's the first one. And every time, you know, I would go in and pitch, first of all, they sometimes didn't take you seriously, like straight to your face. They would say comments or try to trip you up in a way that I bet you they would not say to a man. You know? So that was another experience I had to deal with. And then I would say the final one before I started my business was the person who I worked with, but when I got made redundant, the lady who I said didn't like me, she was actually South Asian.
Oh, right.
Yeah. And when she came to the company and started, I cannot tell you how excited I was.
Yeah, because you're like, there's someone that looks like me.
She'd worked for a really big cosmetics brand. I was like, oh my God, I can't wait to learn from her. Like, I wanted to do things right, you know.
And understand how she navigated. Because we all know like the challenges that come with it when you're an ethnic minority in certain industries.
This is it. And finally, someone in a leadership role that looks like you. And she ended up basically, you know, I would say, you know, borderline bullying me basically. What? And that led to then my role being made redundant because she just did not like me. And I think I told you this on our call, but I didn't realize until my team members came up to me and they were like, Natasha, I really hope I'm not overstepping here, but I'm feeling really uncomfortable with how she's talking to you. By her behavior. And I initially was in denial because I thought, you're being oversensitive.
As you
just,
do.
you know. But until people in my team were telling me that, I realized this is not just me. And because she was almost like, she was the first South Asian woman in leadership throughout my whole 10-year career that I worked with, you remember it more.
Of course you would. To this day. Yeah. And I'm sure years down you might not feel the same type of feeling, but you will always remember that story.
But then I wonder if I would have felt the same if I saw more South Asian women throughout my 10-year career who I had met along the way, who I found really inspiring. because then maybe how she acted wouldn't have felt so big.
It's because she was just the one.
She was just the one.
So you put her on the pedestal saying, okay, if she can make it, and hopefully she will teach me how she made it. And it was the opposite.
Yeah.
Ooh.
But I think if there are more women who look like you, who inspire you, that you work with, then it may not be as much of a prominent memory.
It's a personality issue versus like, oh, it's just two of us in this organization. Wow.
Exactly. Yeah. So, and that is why, really championing ethnic minority groups in male-run industries, or even within the beauty industry, or whether it's property or whatever it might be, in leadership and C-suite level jobs. That's why it's important.
It's important.
Yeah.
Again, it goes down to lived experiences. Not everyone's going to understand why you're saying this. I'm like, because I know my own experiences. Until you've gone through it, then you can have open conversations. And it's not like, oh, it's me being sensitive, or it's me, it doesn't really exist. No. It's a thing, but also how do you overcome it? And how do you still stay like, I am skilled, I deserve to be here, I deserve to keep on going? And those challenges, how do I navigate it actually in the right way? Because it's like a silent thing. You won't know until you've had to go through it. Yeah,
exactly. Or unless someone else who has experienced it can relate to you. So
Wow.
Yeah. That's why it's so important.
That's so important. It's a big thing for me as well. And I grew up in a very kind of rural, we were the only African family in the village. I always say that. So even the makeup thing, I knew exactly where you were going. So those days, you go out with your friends and everyone's trying on makeup at a certain age. And I remember they would be like, oh yeah, just use Natasha, the shade on my, and I'd come out of these shops like, okay, but it's also something that I'm like, this is going back years. It still sat with me, like the awkwardness of like, I want to feel like I can get involved in this experience. I mean, teenage girl, and I'm literally coming out looking like a ghost because they don't have anything grey. They don't have anything for me. And then you're just like pretending that it suits me. It's wild.
Is. And I'd say like, because majority of my career, it was built within the beauty industry. So even now, a lot of our clients are actually from beauty, wellness and lifestyle.
You know the industry well.
Exactly, And only now, with the rise of like Fenty and Huda Beauty, have we now seen a lot more kind of ethnicities come.
MAC used to be my go-to. Because it was only MAC, I think, that had like my shade and a lot of my friends and family
I still
members.
love MAC for that.
Yeah, they did really well.
Yeah, so, I think like now I think it's definitely got better. But when I was in the industry and I was starting out, it was really difficult because it wasn't the norm.
Yeah.
And, like sometimes we'd be in photo shoots and stuff and, like they'd want to use my hands because like I've got brown skin. But just hire a model, hire an agent, but like,
wow,
you're okay to hire someone, who has like white skin, but you don't want to hire someone with brown skin. Like what, you don't have budget for that? But you want to use it though, because you use that look. Yeah, and because I've spoken a few times online actually about like tokenism, and that's what that is. I'm very passionate about that because I am a South Asian business owner. I'm very, very passionate about it. And all the clients that work with me, if I see anything where they do not have models from different ethnicities, I will pull them up on it.
Yep.
I just feel like that's my duty to do that.
Very good.
So now, even that lady who treated me like that South Asian lady, like I could have just taken it and like, felt really bad about it. But actually, I just realised I don't want to be like her.
It's led to purpose. Like I can tell the purpose behind your company is more than, obviously you're very talented and skilled in what you do, but it's more to you as well. And just thinking about the clients that you're working with and advising them, right? We live in a world where your client base are not, one fits all, shape, color, whatever it may be. So really advising them on trying to think about what does your brand stand for and how inclusive is it?
Yeah, exactly. And, like there's so many marketing agencies out there, there are so many to choose from. And if I feel like we're not the right partner for our client, I will actually recommend other agencies for them, because where we're different is I actually work one-on-one with companies first, with the team first. We don't just post, we don't just put stories up. There is a reason as to we're posting what we're talking, everything has a topic. because that is where storytelling,
good.
Comes. So we work very one-to-one with clients. We're most definitely an extension of the team.
But that's how it should be, right?
Yeah.
That's why you bring on board experts and consultants so they feel part of that journey. Yeah. What you've built is so encouraging. I have one final question because I'll keep you here forever. We can talk for ages. What have you learned in the journey of having to rebuild? Because I feel like your story of rebuilding and all of the nuances and mindset change and disappointment, what's one takeaway that you would give someone that might be in a similar type of season as what you had to go through?
Resilience is everything.
Oh my gosh.
Like especially working in marketing and digital marketing, we've all seen those really, really shiny, fluffy posts of that. I made 100K in 30 days.
What is that about, Natasha, please? It's everywhere.
It annoys me so much. I can't even tell you how much it annoys me. Also, but can I just say, maybe a handful of people have.
Okay, yes.
Like, if you have, like, good for you. Like, please, I want to talk to you.
Share how you've done it, exactly.
Like, you made 6 figures in 30 days. That's amazing. But I bet you what they don't share is what they did before that.
And that's what's missing.
Yes.
It sells a dream that's not like take people along that whole journey.
Exactly.
It's so important.
Exactly. So that's what I would say. It's like, it is most definitely resilience because, when I first started the business, when I lost a client, I used to take it really hard.
I can imagine.
Because I'm quite, because my business to me, I'm so passionate about it.
You feel as well, right?
Yeah. I'm emotive as well when it comes to, like working with my clients because I put so much into them and I want to do the best job I can for them.
That's fantastic.
But when you lose a client, it also hits you just
it's
as
like
hard.
a relationship going,
I know, it hits you just as hard. Luckily, we've never lost a client because of like not doing a job that we should have. Sometimes it could be budgets. Sometimes it could be they're actually changing direction of the company or whatever it might be. But you cannot take it to heart. Like resilience means you have to literally dust your shoulders off and stand back up and just start again and keep going. And not everyone can do that.
No, it's a lot.
Yeah, it chips at you each time. So strength and resilience for sure. And do not compare yourself on social media. What to say? Comparison is the thief of
joy.
I'm coming out with all of these quotes.
It all makes sense, but I know where you're going with it. I'm like, joy. Let's end.
Comparison, thief, joy. Those three words.
It's so true. But that's a big thing now as well. And because I guess everyone wants to share what they want to share, but a lot of social media is the great glamorous stuff, right? So you're like, why is my life not like that? Like, what have I missed? Not knowing probably what that person has. Would you even want their journey? I always say, like, when I look, I'm like,
so true.
But you don't know what it took for them to get there. And could you carry that? I always say, always kind of think about that journey. You don't know the full picture. So, it's a good thing. Yeah, well, I can definitely tell you're resilient from what you've had to kind of do and go through, and you're so passionate about what you do as well. So I'm glad that our paths crossed, honestly.
I hope they cross again in some way. Like, we're both in marketing. We have to. We need to do something.
We have to. Yeah, that would be fantastic. And obviously now you're based predominantly in the UK, but you still have clients here. So when you're next back, let's find some time. That would be fantastic.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
No,
Honestly, you're so easy to talk to.
Oh, this was easy.
You're so easy to talk to.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Let's Talk DXB. Real conversations by real people.